Welcome to Shooting the Breeze with Dave and Mike.
Hey, why don't you say your name first?
I don't know.
You should.
With Mike and Dave.
Yes. Mike and Dave.
With Michael, Evelyn Mosby.
Michael Evelyn Mosby, do you talk to your mother like that with that mouth?
Not to my mother.
Your mother.
Which, by the way, Barney does hook up with.
Yes, but does
taking her to the airport, right?
Does he ever define what goes on? Is it like kissing or is it?
No, it
he
never
says like second base or something, but then like Ted keeps asking, and he can never there's no definitive.
Never figure it out.
Yeah. So funny, so funny. That's how I met your mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Yes, everyone, watch it. Oh, love it.
Go and watch it.
So today we're gonna do Seinfeld, season 9, episode 10, which is titled "The Strike," which is in reference to Kramer being on strike, but this is the Festivus episode.
Yeah.
Most people are more familiar with Festivus.
Yeah, that's the bigger play because it's more memorable in this show.
When I saw that it was titled "The Strike," I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, the strike.
Strike, yeah.
I was thinking Festivus the whole time. I wasn't thinking the strike. What the heck? Why are we calling it? They need to rename this. And Dave had a good point. I didn't realize this was in episode or season 9.
Yeah. That's the craziest thing about it is season 9.
Yeah.
And if you look at season 9, there's a lot of good episodes in season 9.
Yep.
It's like, wow, these are classics.
Yeah.
I was surprised how many there are in season 9. The last one, I think, because of how bad it was received.
Yeah.
Season 9 doesn't get the good enough play. It's kind of like The Office.
It's kind of like The Office.
With season 9, where season 8 really kind of did some bad vibes with The Office.
Yeah.
Because of Robert California and all that. But then season 9 comes in. There are some really great episodes in season 9 that make up season 8. But I don't know. People don't like Andy. I've heard that. And people don't like Robert California, which I can understand. But it's kind of disappointing.
Yep.
That they gave a dud close to the end.
Right. So, season 9 Seinfeld did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did great. So, synopsis here, people. Jerry goes out with a woman who is beautiful one day and ugly the next. Two-Face.
Yes, Two-Face.
Kramer goes back to work at H&H Bagels. Kramer was employed. George makes up a charity, the Human Fund. And Elaine gives a fake number to a man.
Levi Vest man.
Levi Vest, yes, that's perfect. By the way, Levi Vest, he was a porn star. That's what his job was. That's his career. And so being in this show, Elaine, when they're at the dinner table at the end, she couldn't stop laughing because that's all she could think about. Because he told them, oh, this is what I do for work. And they were like, what?
Wait, Levi Vest, really?
Levi Vest.
Do you know he's in Sky High? He's the professor.
I'm talking about the jockeys.
Oh, the jockeys.
Sorry, I'm thinking of the jockeys at the end.
Oh.
Not Levi Vest. Sorry.
Oh.
Thinking about that guy with the ugly beard who's terrible looking.
The long hair?
Yes.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry about that.
I didn't know that. Wow.
There was outtakes of it, and it was just so funny because Julia Louis-Dreyfus, right? Yeah. She said it was so funny because this guy was so creepy, and it was like
he looked creepy though.
Yeah, he looked creepy. And when he would talk, she would just laugh because she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is like a porn star. This is disgusting." Just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Why did they cast him? Sorry, off topic. It's so funny.
So the first scene is with George and Jerry
at the
coffee shop.
Yep.
And they're sitting there. George is going through his mail.
Yep.
because he's not at work. Because they don't care.
It.
Yeah, they don't care.
Because he works for Kruger Industrial something.
Kruger's kind of an airhead.
Kruger's an idiot.
Going through the mail, and then George gets a card from his dad, and he gets upset. But Elaine comes in. She comes in, and she's talking, and he opens it up, and then he closes it and puts it in. He's like, nothing. She asks, like, what is it?
What is that?
Nothing. It's a card from my dad. And then she grabs it. Dear son, happy Festivus. What's Festivus? It's nothing. Stop it. Jerry.
Let me read Jerry. You read George. Okay. That's what's so funny. When George was growing up,
Jerry, no.
His father hated all the commercial and religious aspects of Christmas, so he made up his own holiday.
Woohoo! Another piece of the puzzle falls into place. All right.
And instead of a tree, didn't your father put up an aluminum pole?
Jerry, stop it.
And weren't there feats of strength that always ended up with you crying?
I can't take it anymore. I'm going to work happy. Are you happy now? Gathers his things, runs out of the coffee shop, and Elaine and Jerry laugh and stare.
Because it is so funny. George. So funny. George is so good.
And that is a perfect line of another piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
Another piece of the puzzle falls into place.
It's like,
yep, that's George.
Which is great because Elaine is still learning about George after 9 years, really.
Even longer.
I mean, Jerry and George are best friends, and Jerry knows all this. And Elaine goes, "Oh, that's why the way you are, because of this, your dad and Festivus." Oh, so good.
And then so we're just gonna do the Festivus kind of subplot in it.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about that part because that's the best part about the whole
so good
TV series or the TV show or the episode. And so the next scene when they talk about Festivus, Kramer comes in. He's holding a bag of bagels because he's back to work.
Yep.
And Kramer's like, "Oh, gentlemen, bagels on the house." Jerry's like, "Oh, how was your first day?" "Oh, fantastic." Jerry and George pick up a bagel. It feels so good to get my hands back in that dough. Jerry and George, they stop, oh.
Oh, because they know who Kramer is. It's disgusting.
And your hands were in the dough?
Yeah.
No, I didn't make these bagels. George would take a bite. Yeah, they're day olds. The homeless won't even touch them.
And I love it because he's like, we give them to the homeless. We put some good bagels on top, trying to fake them out, but they know. They know.
They test.
Yeah, they test.
All right, I'm out here. That's George, and he gets up to leave. Jerry's like, "Happy Festivus."
Now, what's so great is George's dad is crazy weird, right?
Oh,
This is perfect for who he is, his character.
Yeah.
And then when Kramer finds out, now you know, all heck is going to break loose.
Yes. And you know it's going to just go, just crazy. Okay, this episode, this part is going to be so fun to do this.
And Jerry does the same thing. George is there. When George was growing up, no. His father.
Stop it. It's nothing. It's stupid. My father made it. It doesn't exist.
And then Elaine comes in. "Happy Festivus, Georgie." George leaves. No.
Kramer, Frank invented a holiday. He's so prolific.
Kramer. Yes.
Oh, he definitely makes it so fun. And then, Kramer goes to talk to George's dad.
Yep.
Asks him about Festivus, and then he tells him this story about he went to this shop to get a doll for George.
A doll for George. That's my favorite part.
A doll for George, and then Kramer's like, "What happened to the doll?" "It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born, a Festivus for the rest of us." And that's where we get a Festivus for the rest of us when people quote it.
Yep, Festivus for the rest of us because, Frank was he was fed up with the commercialization of Christmas. So he's going to invent his own holiday. He's going to have an aluminum pole that you don't have to put, what is it?
No decorations.
Yeah, no decorations and no, the tinsel, because it's just so in the way. Yes. It is. Like, the more I think about it, it's a good idea.
It is.
I'd rather put up an aluminum pole for Christmas.
And then Frank and Kramer come into the coffee shop, and then you hear the dragging of the aluminum pole. And Kramer's like, "Well, happy Festivus." What is that? Is that the pole? That's George.
Yeah.
Frank goes, "George, Festivus is your heritage. It's part of who you are."
That's why I hate it.
Frank goes, "George, you're forgetting how much Festivus has meant to us all. I brought one of the cassette tapes." Frank pushes play. George is a child celebrating Festivus is heard.
It's so great.
So
you can hear George in the background. No, Dad! Like, because they're doing the feats of strength and oh, so good.
Always ended up with, who said it? That always ended up with him crying. Someone said that. Was that Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry, when he's explaining to Elaine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And then, so one of the things that goes along with this episode, why Seinfeld is so genius, is there's a subplot to this part where Tim Whatley gives cards to everybody, and he says, "Well, I donated money to this charity."
Charity, yeah.
And George got upset, so he's like, "Oh, but this is genius. I could just make up a charity, and just tell everybody that I donated to the Human Fund."
The Human Fund.
Yeah.
And it's so great because he wants to do this at work.
Yeah.
He wants to give this card out, and it's so great because he comes into work and he's just like I'm cloud nine. This is great. I don't have to give anybody anything. And people are giving him like real gifts. Yeah. And he's like throwing these cards in their faces, and it's, "Oh, you donated to the Human Fund." That scene is so fun. Just George just thinks he is the coolest. Oh, yeah.
He doesn't have to spend money.
He doesn't have to spend money.
And then Kruger, he gets that, and he decides to, because he's like, "Well, I'll just donate this money to a thing."
Yeah, because Kruger's the CEO. Well, I'm going to donate the money to
Human Fund.
The Human Fund.
And then it comes back, and then Kruger, the county department, finds out. So this is Kruger and George in their interaction of Kruger saying, "George, we have a problem. There's a memo here from accounting telling me there's no such thing as the Human Fund." George, "Well, there could be, but there isn't." "Well, I could give the money back." Here holds out the $20,000 check that he was given. "George, I don't get it. If there's no Human Fund, those donation cards are fake. You better have a dang good reason why you gave me a fake Christmas gift." "Well, sir, I gave out the fake card because I don't really celebrate Christmas. I celebrate Festivus." Venomous. "Festivus, sir, and I was afraid that I would be persecuted for my beliefs. They drove my family out of Bayside, sir."
Okay.
Bayside. Oh. And then, "What are you making all this up too?" "No, sir. Festivus is all too real.
And I could prove it if I had to."
"Yeah, you probably should." And then they go to Costanza's house.
Yep. They go to Costanza's house. I love that they go there. And Frank, the setup of their house, if anyone hasn't seen Seinfeld, but I love the setup. Estelle and that flowery look in the house and that cramped living room / dinner table space. It's so funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the atmosphere is perfect. So yeah, so they're sitting in the house, and Kruger comes along, and George's like, "Happy Festivus," because now he has to play it off, right?
George, this is his dad. Yeah. George, this is a surprise. Looking at Kruger, who's the suit?
And George says, "Yo, Dad, this is my boss, Mr. Kruger."
Have you seen the pole, Kruger?
Dad, he doesn't need to see the pole.
He's got to see it. Like Elaine and Jerry come in, and then Elaine is ugly because of the steam of Kramer's work and all that stuff. And then George goes, "Happy Festivus," sees Elaine. Yamahama.
Yamahama. And then Elaine, "I didn't have time to go home. What are you doing here?"
George, "Embracing my roots." Jerry,
"They nailed you on the 20 G's.
Busted cold." And then they go to Frank and Kruger and talking about the Festivus pole. And Frank goes, "It's made of aluminum. Very high strength to weight ratio."
"I find your belief system fascinating."
Welcome. And then they get all around the table, and then they start. Frank introduces Festivus to these people. And Frank goes, "Welcome, newcomers. The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances."
I love the airing of grievances.
And then he gets it. "I got a lot of problems with you people. And now you're going to hear about it. You, Kruger, my son tells me your company stinks." George comes in under his breath. "Oh, goodness." Frank to George, "Quiet. I'll get to yours in a minute. Kruger, you couldn't smooth a milk sheet if you had a hot date with a babe." Then he stops. Frank stops. "I lost my train of thought." And then he sits down. And Jerry, he just gets that face
that's
crap.
A shame.
And then he moves on. And then Frank goes to the next thing of Festivus, which is the feats of strength.
And now, as Festivus rolls on, we come to the feats of strength.
Not the feats of strength, George.
This year, the honor goes to Mr. Kramer.
Oh, gee, Frank. I'm sorry, I gotta go. I have to work a double shift at H&H.
Jerry says, "I thought you were on strike."
Kramer, "Well, I caved. I mean, I really had to use their bathroom." Frank, "No offense, but this holiday is a little out there."
That was a good one.
Then George goes, "Kramer, you can't go. Who's going to do the feats of strength?" Kramer leaves.
This part is so good.
Yeah.
Kruger, he's sipping a liquor from a flask. Yeah. "How about you, George?"
"Good thinking, Kruger. Until you pin me, George, Festivus is not over." That's what Frank says.
George, "Oh, please, somebody stop this."
Frank, taking off his sweater, says, "Let's rumble." Cuts to the outside, so this is close to the end of the episode. Cuts out to the Costanza's house, and Estella, I think you can take him, Georgie."
"Oh, come on. Be sensible," says George.
Stop. Frank, "Stop crying and fight your father."
Ow, I give, Uncle.
"This is the best Festivus ever." Oh.
And that's where it ends. It's so good.
This episode is in the last season, but it is by far one of the classic episodes of the Seinfeld series that it's just worth it. Once you get to that part, it's so worth it, and it's so wonderful that there's these interconnections of jokes because, yes, this was the main joke of Festivus, but you had the human fun that played into Festivus.
Yep. We didn't really talk about Two-Face.
We didn't talk about Two-Face, but Jerry meets this girl who he invites her, he goes out with her, and he sees her at a party.
She's gorgeous. Very
pretty. Then they go to another place, and it's like the lighting is a
little bad, and she comes out.
Like, oh.
She's like, "Oh, hey, Jerry." And she's like, he's like, "Do I know you?" It's me, Gwen, from the party. Is it? She just totally changed.
And then the only place he could see her that she's always beautiful is in the coffee shop, in the back booth.
And she's like, "Why do we always sit here?" "Oh, well, we always sit here because this is, she's trying to give up this excuse. And and it's great because we mentioned earlier, Elaine comes in because she was at the H&H bagel place, and she got steamed, and her hair is all messy looking. But, so Kramer, same thing. He meets Gwen, Jerry's girlfriend or whoever he's dating,
and he says the same thing, like Yamahama.
So like, he sees, and she's like, "Wait, what are you talking about? You're not Jerry's girlfriend. I know Jerry's girlfriend.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's beautiful. She's not you." Oh, it's so good. And so when Elaine, it's so well interconnected. The strike. So now at H&H Bagels, she's only there because she gives away fake numbers to people.
Which she wants a card.
Oh yeah, the card.
Because the card is so like
it's like a sub card.
It's
card.
like subatomic.
Yeah.
And they're terrible sandwiches, but she's eaten 23 of them.
3 of them.
So she gets a free one.
Yep.
The same thing happens to her. She meets the vest guy, and he forgets the card, says that he forgets the card, gives her a fake number because she's a Yamahama.
Yeah,
she's a two-face in this one.
She's a two-face, yep. Yeah, because she writes her fake number on this card, gives to him. She wants the card back so she can get her free sub. Anybody that's watching, you've got to watch the episode because there's so many stories within it. And I don't know, the writing is so good. How they fit, 4 or 5 subplots into one show in 22 minutes. That's why the writing is so good. It's so funny.
Because you have the strike, you have the fake number, the Subway punch card, you have Two-Face, the Human Fund, and then Festivus.
Oh yeah, all in one episode, and
they work together so well.
They're perfectly aligned.
Great writing, great smart writing, and they did so well. Like you said, like you know, it is one episode. It's a Christmas episode, but it's also like you have to watch the whole series.
Yep.
Because there's interplays in everything.
Yep.
Because that's what they just do that. Like, they interplay. It's a smart, very smart comedy.
Yep.
Very smart. So we encourage you to watch it.
Rate it.
Subscribe.
Listen to us. We're on all types of podcasting formats.
Yes. And YouTube. Mike does a great job with our YouTube video, as you can see. He's awesome. So please do that. And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.